Venus Remedies has just gone through this incredible 5-year metamorphosis. They've shifted from being a generic drug maker to a research-led powerhouse. So today, we're going to break down the anatomy of this pretty remarkable turnaround.
The company's whole transformation really stands on 4 key pillars. These pillars completely reset their business model and, just as importantly, their financial health. So let's walk through each one to get a real sense of how this massive change actually happened.
Okay, first, the strategic pivot. This was huge. The company made a very deliberate choice to get away from those low-margin, high-volume generic drugs. Instead, they put all their focus right on the global health crisis of antimicrobial resistance, or AMR. Now, that's a high-value niche with some serious barriers to entry. And why does this matter? Well, it completely shifted their game from just selling volume to selling pure innovation.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. How did they build their competitive advantage? Well, they turned their Venus Medicine Research Center, the VMRC, into an absolute innovation engine. We're talking over 100 patents globally. This created a really powerful R&D moat, a protective barrier. And with flagship therapies like Elores and MET-X, they've built a defensible footprint all over the world.
The second pillar was the financial reset. You have to remember, coming out of 2021, the company was under some serious financial stress. But they executed this radical operational turnaround. This whole deleveraging of the balance sheet was so successful that it ended with them achieving 0 long-term debt status. That is a massive signal of financial stability and discipline.
So what's next? Well, this slide gives us a glimpse into their ambition. The Venus 2026 vision is all about future growth. They're targeting an aggressive push into the very complex field of oncology, and also a strategic breakthrough into the ASEAN market. This shows a really clear shift in their thinking. They're not just manufacturing anymore, they're commercializing high-value intellectual property on the global stage.
So, how does all this transformation build into an actual investment thesis? Let's take a look at the core arguments that have the bull so excited about the company's future.
Okay, the bull case really boils down to 3 key things. A top-tier R&D pipeline in that AMR space we talked about, consistent double-digit profit growth, and what looks like a very attractive valuation. It's this powerful combination that's earned the company a Mojo score of 80, which is just a proprietary rating some analysts use that basically signals high confidence in a stock's quality, valuation, and momentum.
Let's start with valuation, because this number is pretty wild. Bulls are pointing to the price-to-earnings-to-growth ratio, or PEG. Now, usually, a PEG ratio under 1 is seen as attractive. Here, even after a 200% return in 1 year, the stock's PEG ratio has been as low as 0.1. An incredibly low number like that suggests to some that the stock's price still has a lot of room to run to catch up with its future earnings potential.
And this growth isn't just some theoretical thing in the future. It is absolutely showing up on the bottom line right now. The company reported a remarkable 31% jump in profit after tax for the 3rd quarter of fiscal year 26. And management says this is a direct result of that core strategy we just talked about, getting higher contributions from their patented products and just continuing to optimize costs.
But, to get the full picture, we have to look at the other side of the coin. So let's really dig into the counter-arguments and the risks that have the critics worried.
So the bears are focused on several key risks here. The stock's high volatility is a major red flag for them. They also point to the unpredictable or lumpy nature of these big export orders and what they see as a heavy dependency on just a few flagship products. And on top of that, a lagging return on equity and the fact there have been no dividends since 2013, well, that tends to put off more conservative investors.
And this right here perfectly illustrates that volatility we were just talking about. In a single day, the stock rocketed to an all-time high of nearly 947 rupees, only to completely reverse course and slam into its lower circuit breaker. That's when trading gets halted because the price drops too fast. That kind of wild intraday swing signals some heavy profit-taking and suggests the stock might just be in overbought territory.
Okay, so you have the bull case and you have the bear case. To really put it all into perspective, let's look at the timeline. Placing all these events in historical context really helps synthesize the company's entire journey.
You can see a very clear cause and effect relationship here. The journey really kicked off back in 2021. That's when they made the big strategic decision to restructure the balance sheet and pivot away from those commoditized generics. That was the cause, and it laid the foundation for the multi-bagger rally that started in 2023 and ultimately led to that zero debt milestone in 2025.
Which brings us right to the effect. That historical pivot is what directly led to the high-stakes events we saw in early 2026. The record 31% profit jump and breaking into the Indonesian market, those are direct results of that strategy. But so is the extreme volatility as the market tries to figure out how to digest such a rapid and dramatic change.
And all of this leads us to the central question that really wraps up the entire debate. Has Venus Remedies truly built its R&D into an institution that can create a scalable, sustainable global powerhouse? Or is this recent extreme volatility a warning sign that this incredible growth might just be unsustainable? That's the big question the market is trying to answer right now.